All right, welcome. A lot of stuff to cover this week. I'm going to start with finishing up rib number 10 on my left wing, and so we'll get right into it. Okay, this is going to be short. I just have this one last rib, number 10, here on my left wing, and then I'll be done. So all the things I used to get ribs 3 through 9 attached are out the window, but this is going to be super simple. So I did have somebody on the last video I posted, which will be obvious to everybody, asking why I didn't just leave rib number 10 off. I could have dispensed with these nylon blocks I put in here, left the whole thing sitting with the spars riding hard on the fixture. Kind of a forehead slapper now because it's absolutely true. So this rib has done nothing except be in my way since I slid it on here. So now is when it's going to go on. What I did is I took this same piece of wood that I used on the bottom side of the wing yesterday. I put some marks at 17, well actually, so I made one mark at 17.5 inch and a few more at 17.5. So that I could re-register to rib number 7 and so forth. I did discover that rib number 8 is shifted by about 1/16 of an inch, so I'm sure I'll die in a fiery crash because of that. So then I just grabbed several scales and I have them clamped on here with the 17, of course 18 on the other side, mark on these ribs, average everything out, accounted for my 1/8 inch. That's actually how I figured it out down there, excuse me, 1/16 of an inch, sorry, on that rib. Now I'm just going to pull this thing off, do my prep of the spar, and then I'll goop this thing up and slide it back on, and I'll just be able to grab more of these clamps and clamp the scales in place, and rib number 10 will be in awesome shape. Alright, welcome to episode 8. Made it that far. Obviously continuing on, slow build wings, left wing on the wall, right wings in work. We'll talk about that more, obviously, that's the reason I'm here. I'd like to start out with news items and other things I'm working on in the project. So, having sold the Citabria, the buyers for it came out from Bozeman, Montana last Tuesday afternoon. I flew with them in the airplane, flew off their requirements for insurance, and they gassed up the next day and left. So, small world. The Mooney 231 that Brandon flew in is the exact same airplane that I used to instruct out of about 2 decades ago. And I knew that airplane had been bellied in, turns out about 3 times now. And I'd heard it was in terrible shape, but it's not. It actually looked great. And it's in great condition, so Brandon's got a cool airplane to fly. Second item, so with that airplane leaving, I had to cancel the insurance on the Citabria. And that means to make my county landlords happy, I have to have insurance on some airplane in my hangar, so it may as well be my Kitfox. So I reached out to my broker, and always the first question any insurance agent's going to ask you is how much Kitfox time do you have? And the answer is 0 in my case. So I booked the flight experience I need through Stick and Rudder in Idaho, and that's going to be in about 2 weeks. So I will hopefully get some pictures. I don't know if they'll let me take any video. Probably won't be that awesome anyway. But anyway, I'll get to fly the Kitfox, which is going to be pretty amazing. And the third item, Brett Hahn, who's the U.S. importer that I'm working with, there's now 3 U.S. importers for the Verner radial here in the United States, called me up and asked me if I wanted an exhaust system that he had on hand for the Scarlett 7U. So the answer was hell yes. Give him a credit card number, got a tracking number, it's on the way, it'll be here Wednesday, so that's that. What else did I miss here? Insurance app, that's it. So let's get to building. Left wing is done, hanging on my wall. I've got 2 more brackets to support both spars evenly. I took my crate, repurposed that. I put both flapper-ons in there. Padded them with foam, but they're still sitting super flat to the crate. Put the lid on. It's still a no step zone, but less likely to get any kind of damage to them. Put the right spars on the fixture after I checked with my digital level and digital tape measure that the fixture hadn't gone anywhere. It's rock solid. Well, if I had a section called Pro Tips, and I don't, one of the things, pieces of advice I would offer up is that when you go to sand ribs, just do them 2 at a time. On one of the other videos you can refer back to, there's my little setup for sanding on ribs. It's kind of tedious. And after 2, it's not really an attention span thing, but it's they're not very fun anymore. So I can stick it out to do 2 ribs, do a really good job, follow my exact same workflow for every one of them, and then it's time to go do something else. So for example, the night I hung that wing on the wall and got out the spars, I sanded 2 ribs. And then the next day I came and I sanded 2 more at the start of my build session. Then I stopped and I got out the Sharpie pen and have a little clip on what I did that was different this time on the right wing, and it worked pretty good. And then with that out of the way, I turned my attention back and did 2 more ribs. And now I'm down, I only have 2 left. So that's pretty cool. As soon as I'm done shooting and editing some video here, I will get on those. And then all the ones that I need for this part of the process are ready to go. What I'm doing here is marking up my right wing spars to get my 37.5, 55.25, and so forth spacing for the right ribs. When I marked up these spars for my left wing, I had made 1 set of marks all the way out, and I was trying to find some way to make a line that was perfectly perpendicular to the axis of the tube, and it was challenging. I was counting on getting something that was easy to make perpendicular, and like I said in that video before, I tried to use hose clamps. That's a disaster, plus it scratches up the tube. So this time my trick is I made a set of marks, 1 on each side of the tape, rolled the spar, made another set of marks, and I made all the marks along one edge of the spar all the way out using the tape in one setting, rolled the spar, set them up all again, everything anyway, so you follow that. This is actually just a piece of packaging off of a Harbor Freight set of sanding discs, and this is probably the one thing I have from Harbor Freight that'll work twice. All I have to do, so I've already done these, playing around here, is now I'm just connecting the dots, and any kid could do that. What a liar out of me. And obviously I'm not drawing all the way around, but I have enough set of marks now lined up. I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to pick up the other marks that are on the other side, make it continuous. I'll be pretty happy with that. All right, it was just yesterday afternoon when I finished sanding the ribs that are going on here, got all the dust blown off and set them aside. I made some marks on the ribs that are common to the rivets on the spars. Came out this morning is when I did the notches in the notches in the ribs to slide over. And the 2 that I was concerned with, 6 and 7, both of them I didn't get exactly right, so I had to pull them all off, redo those 2. Now they fit, no problem. Then I got out the anti-drag fittings and tubes, zip tied them in place just like I did last time. Went back on, started rib number 3, drilled 2 holes, and so forth. Came back and drilled all the remaining, so there's 6 each one. And then came back just this afternoon, drilled 1 hole in each anti-drag into the fitting on my way out. Came back, did the second one. Now I'm going to pull everything off, deburr everything. I'm going to drill the other 3 holes, because they're for a total of 5 from the tube to the fitting. And then I will do the etch and anodyne course of the anti-drag tubes. And then I'm ready to bond. And I'm sure everybody will remember ribs 5 and 7. While I do the anti-drag, take a break while that kicks. And then come back and do the same exact thing I just did on the left wing. So moving right along. Alright, well I haven't drilled any holes or spit any glue in a couple days, but still exciting news. So today I got, actually last night it showed up, here is the exhaust system for my Scarlett 7U. It's all here in the box. This is obviously just 2 cylinders. It's really well made, the welds are beautiful. What can I say? I'm stoked. My engine's still 4+ months out, but that doesn't seem as far as it did when I put down my deposit first week of November in 2020. So we're done with 2020. Baggage compartment floor. So the gentleman that I sold my Citabria to suggested I contact Randy at Carbon Solutions in Alaska. Asked him about making me a baggage compartment floor out of carbon fiber. It's cord material, uses Divinacell, I think. Anyway, some kind of foam core. Sent him the dimensions for this baggage compartment floor. This standard one from Kitfox weighs 4 pounds, 8 ounces. I did the math on the weight of the carbon fiber, and it's going to be 2 pounds less than this. So 2 pounds is 2 pounds. They're worth every penny, which isn't actually really any more than this one was. Okay, another scene filmed on the forehead cam. So this is drag anti-drag. This is the one from, it's the one furthest outboard. So it goes from rib number 7 to rib number 9. I've got all the holes drilled and all the rest of them. I thought I'd take a quick tour of what it is I'm doing here. So I've alluded to the fact that there are 5 holes required that you have to space out evenly around here and still stay inside. Where is it? Here's one of these fittings. And you see there's not a whole lot of extra room. That one actually makes it look like I'm shockingly close to the end, but this is a short fitting. I'm finding quite a bit of variation in the length of these things, so be careful. And the holes are random. There's no sense laying out measurements as long as you're far enough away from the edge. This is about as close as you want to be right here for a sufficient edge margin from not only, sorry about that, not only from the edge of the aluminum tube, but from the edge of the steel fitting inside. Plenty of room for a rivet here, down close, where I know this is Fat City, and then 2 more on this side, which I'm going to have to figure out carefully. I'm in the habit of taking these apart after I get these 2 holes and looking and see how much room I really have. A couple of these I've done. You can see I've got them already done over there. I took them apart and I had plenty of material out here so I could space the holes out, but some of them, man, it's close, so you don't want to drill a air hole or with no edge margin whatsoever. Yeah, quite a bit, so I'm good. So you can see why I do this here, right? I can drill them all up on the bench. That's the no-brainer. And then when I go to put them in, I don't have to do the bonding and riveting when the wing drag anti-drag tubes are in place, because that would actually suck. The access for getting the clecos in and getting the rivets, you don't have to go to that much work. So anyway, again, these are random, which is why you have to keep track of them. So you'll see my little code to myself. This is on rib number 9, inboard end. I did, so the other end here would be rib 7, outboard end. So 70.0. You can name them A, B, C, D, doesn't matter. Just something that makes sense to you or the people who would pick up your project after you get hit by a bus. With everything deburred, cleaned up, etched allodyne, cleaned again. I'll mix up the high sol with micro balloons because you're putting steel and aluminum together, and you need the micro balloons provide a gap cushion to keep the dissimilar metals from creating corrosion. I can't say it's perfect because then you stick them together with some stainless rivets, but who's counting? Alright, this is probably a good place to wrap this episode up. Started with that rib number 10. The rest of this is pretty much just a repeat. I've got my drag anti-drag tubes that are etched in allodyne. I'll be riveting and bonding those tonight, ribs 5 and 7, all that crap I've already gone over. So unless I make a mistake or discover some kind of new wild information, right wing same as the left, if I do discover something new, I'll put it on the next episode. Did just place my order for my avionics, so if you smell burning plastic, that's me. Those will ship hopefully early next week, and I'll have some stuff to play with. I'll put up a list of what it is I bought since I can't remember when the camera's pointed at me. Several times I've mentioned wings being done, and of course all I really mean is that they can come off this fixture, that you can handle them. At this stage right here, it would allow me to take them to the airport and do the fit up to my fuselage, the lift strut attached fittings, and then I can do trailing edges, my fuel tanks, which are the new style from the rafters, rib number 1, trailing edge material, I think I said that already. Get ready for wingtips, lots of stuff. Anyway, there's lots of steps which I haven't even read that far in advance to know what they are, but by done I just mean this critical milestone where I can get those lift strut attached fittings done. And with that, like I said, this is a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next episode.